Assalamualaikum, this is Naveed from Nifty Sphere Institute of Art and Designing. Today we have a topic of typography. Before moving towards typography, we can discuss the quote by Samuel Johnson, which is, "Language is the dress of thoughts." Now, what is typography? And we are looking in depth of typography topic as well. Typography surrounds us. It adorns the building and the streets through which we pass. It is a component part of ever-expanding variety of media we consume, from magazines, televisions, and internet. And we even increasingly sport it on our clothing in the form of branding and symbolic messages. The typography that is a fundamental part of our lives today is the culmination of centuries of development, as the letters that comprises the written word evolve and crystallize into the alphabets that are in the common usage. Technology has played a central role in this development, affecting and changing the way that the marks we recognize as characters are made and presented. Now let's discuss a brief history about typography. Type has developed over the last 600 years as the printing process has evolved. The characters that are printed over have been developed over a much longer period of time, as language itself has developed from Egyptian hieroglyphs to the Latin letter we use today. Type is the means by which an idea is written and given visual form. Many typefaces used today are based upon designs created in early historical epochs, and the characters themselves have a lineage that extends back thousands of years to the first mark making by primitive man were devised to represent objects and concepts. Typeface and font. The word typeface and font are used synonymously. In most cases, there is no harm in doing so, as the substitution is virtually universal, and most people, including designers, would have present to state each word's true definition. A font is the physical means used to create a typeface, whether it is a typewriter, a stencil, letterpress, blocks, or a piece of PostScript code. What is typeface? A typeface is a collection of characters, letters, numerals, symbols, and punctuation, which have the same distinct design. Pictured below are examples of typefaces produced using the cookie cutters mentioned: a typewriter, a stencil, a letterpress, and a piece of PostScript code. Typeface has different anatomy, how these typefaces are made, and which are the characters or helping elements are using make a one character as well of typography. Typography characters have an array of attributes and forms that are described through a variety of different terms in much the same way as the different names for every part of human body. Understanding the fundamental principle and concepts of typography is the first step to being a successful typographer. The most basic component of typography is the letter, and each letter of the alphabet is distinguished by its unique shape or letter form. This technical guide includes definitions for and illustrations of the individual parts that compose letter forms, as well as the boundaries by which letter forms are delineated. Now, an anatomy of typeface have different characters. These characters are ascender, descender, tail of a character, axis, loop, link, neck, counter, crossbar, bracket, stamp, terminal, ear, ball, eye, shoulder. And the most important elements are cap height, X height, baseline. Now, the point play a very important role in typographical visualization as well. A pickup from one type foundry would be exactly 12 points, while the same measurement from another could vary by as much as a point. Now, there are different types of fonts or typography. The two main categories are serif and sans serif as well, majuscules and minuscules. These are the two important terminologies which we are using in typography as well. In majuscules are upper or capital letters, and minuscules are lowercase letters. Both of these character sets have distinct applications, and it is important to note that not all fonts are available in both forms. And the weight variation is an important indicator part. For example, typefaces within the family context can have many variations. The naming of the variation is very diverse and abstract. What is the difference between a semi-bold and a medium? Should there be one? What about extra black, heavy, and ultra black? And the characteristics of typography are size, alignment, line length, leading or leading, tracking, and kerning. In size, typographical scaling is really important. Size measured by the point as well. There are different points which are given in typography as well. In this example, we have a 6 point, which is smaller typographical element, and we can show a smaller scale as well. And in 72 scale, we have a larger or bigger size of the character as well. Alignment, there are 4 major alignment elements, which are left alignment, right alignment, center alignment, and justified alignment. Line length means how we can use are lines or paragraphs by typographical elements or by writing a paragraphs or bullet points as well. In this example, alignment is too narrow, right alignment, and in third example is too wide alignment. So according to these alignments, or we can use in our designs by negative space and which alignment is good according to our design, we can decide, or designer can decide as. Leading means refers to the distance between the baseline of the successive lines of type. In first paragraph, we have good leading because the spacing is good. Eyeballs are easily read this step. In second example, this is too little or a narrow alignment, we can say that, and it is the bad example of leading. And the too much alignment is also not. In third example, we have a too much spacing as well. So too little or too much is not a good example of leading. Now the tracking. Tracking means refer to a consistent degree of increase or decrease of a space between letters. Now in first example, tracking set to -50. In this tracking, every tracking letter have a -50 tracking, and tracking set to a 0. And in third example, tracking set to 100. In second example, our eyeball easily read this paragraph as well, which is tracking set to a 0. And kerning means it is a process of adjusting the spacing between characters in a proportional form. In first example, no kerning A and V, and in second example, kerning A and V, kerning applied as well. Kerning means between the spacing between one character to the another character. For example, here is an example of type TYPE. Between E and Y, there is a kerning. Y and P, there is a space. And in P and E, there is a kerning space as well. Condensation in font is really important. Condensed means a font which has the ability of longer or in a bigger length. And in normal font, we have a normal font. And in extended font, we have a bigger or thicker font. Characterization of the serif, sans serif, monospace, script, handwriting. Serif font means edges and tails on any font. In this example, we can show that the serif has different tails and edges. For example, unbracketed slab serif, bracketed serif, unbracketed serif, hairline serif, white serif, slur serif. In slur serif, we have a copper black font. In hairline serif, poster buduni, or in a white serif, we have the brackets of the serif, Egyptian 505. Serif has different characters from where we can easily recognize this type of serif it is. For example, serif has a character of Kothak, lift serif, old style serif, flap serif, cursive serif, sans serif, Tuscan serif, and bracket serif. There is a difference between serif and sans serif. A serif font features strokes at the end of the letter forms. These strokes are referred to as serifs and they help guide the eye and when reading. Sans serif means a sans serif font does not have strokes at the end of its letter form. Sans serif fonts have a more modern appearance and are often used in digital media. Sans serif means they have no edges or no tails at the end of each character. There are different examples of sans serif as well. Gothic sans serif, dated in 19th century. Some contrast in stroke width, or G and double ball as well. An example of Gothic sans serifs are Franklin Gothic, Accidents Gothics. Neo-Gothic sans serif, less contrast in stroke weight, more round curve with a single ball. Helvetica, Arial, Universe, Belk Sentinel. And the geometrical sans serifs are Futura, Gotham, Century Gothic, Avant-Garde as well. Most geometrical and mechanical of sans serif typefaces almost circles 0, minimal difference between letters as well. Humanistic sans serif are Gilt Sans, Optima, Lutrigra, Calibri, Verdana, Tohama. Monospace font that has letters and characters each occupy the same amount of horizontal space. For example, Courier, Inconsolata, Helvetica monospace. Other example of monospace are typewriter, and the coders are using while in their coding is monospace font as well. Now script typeface. Script typeface has different curves or cursive typeface as well. Typeface with fluid and rhythm derived from or imitative of handwriting or calligraphy. For example, Buffett script. A formal script means elegant type style, flowing loops and flourishes, stroke, most often connected. Zapfino becomes script, commercial script as well. These are the examples of formal script. Casual and brush script, designed to look informal as though quickly drawn with brushes pen. Mistral, brush script are the example of casual brush scripts. Black Saturn is a very famous font English black letter developed from the form of Caroline minuscules used there after the Norman conquest, sometimes called manuscript. Display typefaces are designed to create a visual impact in headlines and stand first, and are not intended for use in long text messages. For example, Superior Ultra Black is a display typeface, headline empty PT, poster Buduni, wide letter, and AG oldface. Display fonts have decorative property as well. Very broad category that contains typefaces that do not belong to previous categories. They are usually designed to be distinctive and engaging with very few or no rules apart. Now, in typefaces, major things are legibility and readability. In every typeface is important. While we are using script font, serif font, sans serif font, non-space font, but legibility and readability is really important. In legibility, we can relate it to the characteristic inherent in its design, excite, character shape, stroke, contrast, size of its counters, serif and sans serif, weight and width. In readability, it is related to your type, arrangement, size, line length, alignment, leading, tracking, kerning, etc. Legibility is related to the design of the typeface. Readability is related to how the type is set. We are using sans serif for giving or conveying a message of strong sense in our designs. When we are using luxury or elegant message, then we are using serif or thin fonts. If we reflect in modern design or modern typography, then we use sans serif or modern sans serif font as well. If we convey the message of coolness or cools, then we use script, serif or modern font as well. A good typeface are consistent in design characters. Good typefaces have optical compensation and even color. Good typefaces have more resolved forms. And good typefaces have better spacing and kerning as well. In the end, typography is an essential communication and design element that has evolved over several centuries and continues to evolve as tastes continually changing and technological development makes it easier to develop new type. Type plays a fundamental role in the communication process as much through the shapes and styling letter forms as the actual words that they form. Typography can be a complex subject filled with technical terms and jargon which have been defined and explained to facilitate more precise communication of requirement.